hell out of the guy. He called him an ugly bear and pointed out that a champion should be beautiful. His propaganda was amusing as it was something never seen before, but many thought his antics were just an empty threat.
Once about combat sports is the trash talk, like. Okay guys, today we're gonna be looking at Muhammad Ali, the greatest of all time, and I've been a fan of boxing, but I've never come across Muhammad Ali fight before.
I know, right? I've heard his,
and it's very weird.
Yeah, I've been hearing of him, but I've never seen or watched any of his fights before.
Yeah, I remember people other than me telling me, oh, it's so good, his knockout is this, but like, okay. Actually, I'm supposed to be doing a Mike Tyson video right now, but it just hit me like, okay, I've never seen Muhammad Ali clip before, so I was like, okay, let me see what it's all about. If it's all about the hype or if it was actually that good. So today we're gonna be seeing Muhammad Ali for the very first time, guys. If you're new here, this is Super Studio. Please give this video a big thumbs up, hit the bell icon to get notified and I'll post a new video, guys. And without further ado, let's get right into this video today, guys.
Muhammad Ali is without a doubt the greatest boxer of all time. There have been better punchers, boxers with better records or more victories, but nobody had what Ali brought to the table. He was a phenomenal champion, the greatest entertainer, and the leading activist for human rights amongst all athletes. Here's the life story of one Muhammad Ali and our take on his greatness. His boxing, his great service to humanity, his famous trash talk, but also his stepping out of line and stubbornness that kept him in the ring for too long. Early life and boxing beginnings. Born in Kentucky in 1942, Cassius Marcellus Clay Jr. grew up in the American South in a time of severe racial segregation. His father, Cassius Clay Sr., supported a wife and two sons by painting billboards, while his mother worked as a household domestic. Growing up poor and racially oppressed, young Cassius quickly learned he'd have to fight for everything in life. When his bike was stolen at the age of 12, he told a police officer, Joe Martin, that he wanted to beat up the thief. As a twist of fate would have it, Joe Martin was also a boxing trainer at the local gym, and he invited the young man to come train there and learn how to fight before he started beating up people on the street. From that moment on, everything would change in the life of Cassius Clay. He just didn't know it yet. He won his first amateur fight at the age of 14, and 2 years later, he won a novice Golden Gloves tournament at light heavyweight. At the age of 19, Clay was the winner of the National Golden Gloves Tournament of Champions and the winner of AAU national title for the light heavyweight division. As the best amateur in the country, Clay was selected to represent the USA in 1960 Rome Olympics, which he almost refused due to his fear of flying. Standing at 6'3", fast and athletic, Clay was dominant in the Olympic tournament, and he deservedly won the gold medal.
He almost refused due to his fear of flight. It's just funny to me, guys. Somebody that's this strong is scared of something.
I know, right?
Yeah. Wow.
After beating the Polish Zbigniew Pietrzakowski in the final, returned home and started a professional career. Now an Olympic champion, Cassius Clay returned home and proudly wore his medal around Kentucky. He went on to eat downtown, but couldn't get served in a restaurant. "We don't serve Negroes," the waiter said. "I don't eat Negroes too. Just bring me a hamburger," the quick-witted boxer replied. Disgusted and disappointed, he thought something was deeply wrong in the country, where his dad fought in wars, and he won the Olympic gold, but still wasn't treated as equal. Cassius turned pro.
I would say, like, the rage in him is like due to where it's coming from, like his background. Like so
they call him Cassius, not Ali Muhammad.
I think that's his surname, probably. But I think our background and where we're coming from affect us in a way we don't even see it. Like to you, it's a normal day life, but someone outside where you're coming from could like easily picture you like, okay,
and you can actually influence what we become in life.
Yeah, even the way we talk self, that is like the
obviously influence.
So I see where his rage is coming from.
After 105 amateur fights, winning exactly 100 of them. He signed a deal with Louisville Sponsoring Group, and his first contract was $400 a month, plus 50% of the gate. Clay then made another career-altering move and called the 5th Street Gym in Miami, where Angelo Dundee was the head coach. He moved to Florida and immediately began training with Dundee, who would be in his corner for all but 2 career fights. Cassius was still a teenager with an unpolished skill set and not all the way physically developed as a heavyweight, weighing less than 190 pounds. Still, his speed proved to be too much for all his opponents, and he fought more like a middleweight than a proper heavyweight. But neither his agility nor an Olympic gold medal was his most prominent feature. Clay got known for his trash talk, which he picked up from the professional wrestler Gorgeous George Wagner, whom he met in 1961 at the beginning of his boxing career. Clay realized that trash talking made a difference in the number of sold tickets, and because it aligned with his confident and humorous nature, Cassius adopted the tactic and soon began slandering and belittling every opponent. After he knocked out the European heavyweight champion Henry Cooper at the Wembley Stadium in England, there was only one man left to beat, a heavyweight champion of the world, Sonny Liston, becoming the champ. Sonny Liston was truly a lesson in what the physical advantages mean in boxing. Although only 6 foot and 1 inch tall, he had an incredible 84-inch reach and massive
Yeah, he looks
like, I don't know how to put it, but there's some people you can also see like with the width of their hand.
Yeah,
like,
you can feel that they are strong.
This person is a heavy puncher, like it looks like a heavy puncher, like his punch strength to be like massive.
Just punch your head, your teeth will fall off.
Liston had an amazing jab and could knock out a fighter with either hand. He was also strong as a bull, and with a record of 35-1 coming into the fight with Clay, he was considered an 8-1 favorite. Clay had just started coming into his own as a popular figure, and Liston was his first major target. Sayings like, "If you like to lose your money, be a fool and bet on Sonny," endeared him to many, but his trash talk wasn't universally accepted.
It's so
Some
good at
people
trash
viewed him
talk.
as a disrespectful jokester. Clay's offensive began during Liston's preparations for the match with Floyd Patterson. Clay appeared at his practices, public appearances, and annoyed the hell out of the guy. He called him an ugly bear and pointed out that a champion should be beautiful. His propaganda was amusing as it was something never seen before, but many thought his antics were just an empty threat.
It's not as I'll say, and that's why everybody loved him. I'm beginning to like love him
Champion
too.
should be
Like-
beautiful. An ugly bear.
Yeah.
Oh
The strategy
God.
is epic, like trust the strategy is so epic. Once about combat sports is the trash stuff. Like as I'm watching this clip like this right now, it's interesting to watch, but if you're in the moment, like at that time when it's going on, the hits between both
I
parties,
know,
like,
right?
you just can't wait for the day to come.
Figured Clay would only last a couple of rounds, just like all the others. However, trash talking worked like a charm, and when the bell finally sounded off and the fight started, Sonny Liston attacked Cassius Clay as if he was trying to decapitate him. Liston missed shot after shot, wasting a lot of energy. And it was something similar to the first round of Stipe Miocic versus Francis Ngannou, if you're a UFC fan. Liston was a big bear who came out to tear limbs with his paws, like in The Revenant. But unfortunately for him, he was in the ring with a ballet dancer. Big-bodied Liston didn't have the speed to catch Clay, who hit his opponent with quick combinations with his usual risky style, and somehow managed to avoid anything thrown at him. Cassius Clay was at the height of the first phase of his career, in which he masterfully used his speed and agility. Liston looked more frustrated than ever. Clay was winning every round. However, things started to turn around when Clay temporarily lost his sight during the 4th round, and even wanted to give up and asked his coach to untie his gloves. Dundee tried to wash Clay's eyes and motivate him, and when the gun marked the start of the 5th round, Dundee had to literally push Clay to the center of the ring. Liston saw that and went for all or nothing. Due to poor diet, alcohol, and lack of training, he had only a few minutes of strength left to bring down the annoying challenger. However, Clay remained standing, and whatever it was in his eyes evaporated during the 5th round, and he returned in the 6th, reborn. ready to
Ooh, I
win.
like that.
The 22-year-old challenger dominated Liston in the 6th, after which the champ collapsed in his chair, spat out his mouthguard, and said that he was done. The fight was over, and boxing had a new heavyweight champion. I'm so bad, I'm so good, he shook up the world. Clay shouted into the microphone in what would be his last fight under his birth name, becoming Ali, celebrity status, and Vietnam protest.
This is where Ali emerged.
Oh wow.
Wow.
This is getting heated, guys.
No. Like his lifestyle is so good. Like his boxing lifestyle, I think I've seen a lot of people lifestyle, but his own is like special. Like the way you emerge from.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Like
He's just coming with so much ease.
Like I won't start to write that. I just can't explain. But
And there's
I'm
something
so happy
about it.
watching
It feels
this.
like he's enjoying what he's doing.
Yeah.
Like everything is just like it's made for him.
Actually, it's really the greatest of all time.
After becoming the heavyweight champ, Clay shocked the boxing world again by announcing that he had accepted the teachings of the Nation of Islam. 2 weeks later, he took the name Muhammad Ali, which was given to him by his spiritual mentor, Elijah Muhammad. Even though he changed the name, nothing changed in the ring. For the next 3 years, Ali completely dominated heavyweight boxing, just like Marciano and Joe Louis did before him. In a rematch against Liston, he triumphed after the phantom knockout in 1st round, in one of the most controversial fights of all time, since many believed Liston threw the fight. After that, Ali defended his title title 8 more times and was never in danger of getting beat. He was in his physical prime and a class above everybody else. He was indeed flying like a butterfly and stinging like a bee. And nobody was able to stop the famous Ali shuffle. Nobody in the ring, at least. In 1967, citing his religious beliefs, Ali refused induction into the U.S. Army at the height of the war in Vietnam. Unlike most athletes who wouldn't dare speak up against the government, Ali was intelligent and brave enough to fight for his beliefs and not back down. I don't want to quarrel with no Viet Cong. They haven't done anything to me. They never called me a as he did not want to enlist in the army. The champ was threatened with imprisonment. Standing before a completely white jury, Ali was sentenced to 5 years in prison and a $10,000 fine. Since the appeal was filed immediately and the bail was paid, Ali did not go to prison, but was stripped of his world title and boxing license and would not have an official boxing match for 3.5 years. They stole the 3 best...
Sorry, why? Because he doesn't want to go to war.
Well, for years. The Vietnam... I've watched that documentary before. Like,
Is it not supposed to be his choice?
Yeah, no, some countries, like, let me say Ukraine and Russia right now, like the war is going there. I don't think you have a choice. As
an heavyweight.
Like as a man, you have to like go to war.
And looking at his career path too.
I don't even know. Like I don't even know how it's done at that time, but it's really what it is. But like the Vietnam and USA stuff, I watched the documentary. It looked like more of a genocide. So I think it was actually correct here, not going to fight for USA, understand? Because it was like a massive killing in Vietnam. So, I think he made the right choice.
Of his career. When he was at his peak, he could not box, said his legendary coach, Angelo Dundee, and he was right. However, that injustice only put more wood to the fire and gave Ali another title, that of a people's champ. Returning to boxing and the fight of the century. Ali's case went to the Supreme Court, who ruled it unanimously in his favor, and he was eligible to return to the ring. He defeated Jerry Quarry and Oscar Bonavena in 2 largely uneventful fights, which served as an hors d'oeuvre for the main dish, which was Joe Frazier. Dubbed the fight of the century, it was the first time in history that 2 undefeated heavyweight boxing champions met in the ring. In Ali's absence, Frazier became the most dominant fighter in the world, who destroyed everybody with his quick movement and disastrous left hook.
It was taking his seat, but I was not around. Like everything like that. Like you're being too comfortable in my seat, my absence. Now I'm back. I just can't wait to see the next scene after this one right now.
The fighters were in their prime years. Frazier was 27 and Ali was 29. The marketing for the fight was something never seen before in the world of boxing. Ali was a master marketer, and he positioned himself as the embodiment of black discontent. And for the success of the campaign, the opponent had to become the embodiment of the problem. As Frazier was also black, Ali started calling him Uncle Tom. The derogatory name for racial traitors involved in white oppression pushed Frazier into a vengeful psychosis from which he did not recover for the next 30 years. Ali's rhyming propaganda united the black community against Frazier, and his family received threats on a daily basis. Joe's kids were bullied at school, and at the height of preparations for the match, Frazier was guarded by the police. Apart from that, Ali was also calling him ugly, a gorilla, and generally tried to make him look bad in any way he could. On March 8th, 1971, Muhammad Ali confidently stepped into the sacred Madison Square Garden, and the people's champion came for his stolen gold. Opposite of him stood the seething Joe Frazier, who was finally in the place where he could retaliate Ali's verbal abuse in the best way he knew how, with his fists. Before his suspension, Muhammad Ali was elusively fast and relied more on his athletic ability than on his fighting intelligence. He wasn't by any means slow during his first match with Frazier, but he wasn't dancing like Fred Astaire anymore. Because of his arrogance, Ali refused to adapt to the athleticism laws, which was everything Frazier needed. Slightly slower Ali, combined with Frazier's rage and unwillingness to loosen the pressure, enabled Smokin' Joe to catch Ali too many times. This fight will be remembered by precise hooks, followed by combinations to the body, and a tireless act from Frazier, who always kept on coming. Ali later said he was hit more in that fight than in his last 6 fights combined. In round 15, Frazier threw a hook that finally sent Muhammad Ali to the ground and gave him the first series.
He wanted the guy to come angry. You know, sometimes.
The guy came with anger.
Yeah, you know, sometimes. Actually, I really felt like the guy is going to come with anger, and that anger will make him tap off on time. Because
no, this is what anger do to a fighter. It clouds your mind.
Yes.
You lose all your discipline.
Yes.
All your training.
All your
just
skills.
the aggression.
That's what he wanted to bring from him. But I think the case was different. Because the guy was angry, but then he was fighting longer than.
It seems like the guy went more into training. You understand? Because like, okay, I'm going to like do this to you for what you have done to me with your words. So like, I think actually I would just say Ali underestimated this man. He has been winning so good, so he'll be like, okay, at this point I'm untouchable, nobody can beat me. I think that's what he did here. It's just
good.
That's so good.
His career knockdown. He was able to get up, but Frazier was a clear winner and won the fight via unanimous decision. Fire in the belly and regaining the title back. The loss to Frazier pissed Ali off. It changed his approach to life and sports and put him back on the road to the title. He built himself a rugged training camp near a lake in Pennsylvania to limit himself from the modern world's distractions and luxuries. Ali was more motivated than ever, and he trained twice as hard, running every day, chopping trees, and boxing. He was ready to right the wrong. In the next 2 years, Ali fought often and had won 10 fights in a row. Then in 1973, he suffered another loss to a little-known fighter, Ken Norton, who broke Ali's jaw in the second round en route to a 12-round upset decision. Ali downplayed his opponent and didn't take him seriously. Ali was often playing in the ring and would have his hands down or just shuffle around for a few rounds, not really throwing punches. Before the Norton fight, he didn't train properly and had spent more time with women than he did with Angelo Dundee. He had a nice little cushion around his belly, weighing more than 220 pounds. I've been winning fights so easily, and a man can get intoxicated, not only with narcotics or alcohol, but a man can also get intoxicated with greatness. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
I was so good that I started to do things.
This should be his problem. Underestimating his opponents.
Yeah, I think he started doing that a lot.
When you're too good, you'll be like, okay, nobody can beat me.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
He's used to being the best.
Yeah.
I've been
winning 10 fights in a row. Like, do you know what that is? With good, like, pro boxers. Like, that will easily get to your mind. Like, you lose guard. That's how I put it.
I wouldn't normally do, Ali said after the loss. Another L sobered him up again, and Ali returned 6 months later with no extra weight, weighing 210 pounds, the same weight he had versus Sonny Liston. The rematch was really close, and the decision was somewhat controversial, but Ali successfully avenged the loss and defeated Norton by a split decision. After that, the time had come to avenge his first loss against Frazier, even though it wasn't for the title, because Joe lost it to George Foreman. In the second fight, again at MSG, Ali was able to secure the decision victory over Frazier in a vastly better performance than the first time they collided. After the win, he finally came to the position he so desperately craved, to fight for the world's heavyweight championship. The Rumble in the Jungle. Coming to the fight with Ali, George Foreman had amassed 40 professional victories in the same number of fights. He had won only 3 by decision, and the vast majority of his fights ended in the first 3 rounds, including dominant victories over Frazier and Norton. They had both beaten Ali, but lasted only 2 rounds with Foreman. Nobody thought Ali would stand much chance against the hardest-hitting man the world had ever seen, who was also 7 years younger than Ali and in his physical prime. Of course, Ali thought differently and trash-talked George in the build-up, creating an enormous interest in the fight. Dictator Mobutu paid $10 million for the match to be held in Kinshasa in October 1974. The fight was originally set in
1974, 10 million. Do you know how much that is?
Like that's
like 10.
Like seriously, even to now.
$10 million.
Like that's a lot. Like this is the power of trash talk. Like you create so much hype that you just can't wait. You be like, oh my god, like please God, fast forward this day, let me see what's gonna happen in the future. Like the expectation coming up on that day. Wow.
The performance cut its sparring. It was postponed for 6 weeks, and both fighters stayed in Zaire. Ali was followed by tens of thousands of people at every step. He hugged and kissed children, women, the elderly, went everywhere without security. On the other hand, Foreman mostly frowned and was followed by his German Shepherd, which was a huge mistake. The slave owners in Zaire used such dogs, and this completely turned the local population against George, who shouted, Ali, Omaye, which meant, Ali, kill him. When the fight was approaching, Ali's coaches were genuinely afraid for his life against such a terrifying puncher. The plane was ready to transfer Ali to Madrid if the injuries after the fight would be too severe. However, that would not be necessary, as Ali was able to shock the world again. Instead of dodging the blows and moving around the ring, Ali leaned on the ropes and tried to protect his head and suffered incredibly strong blows to his body. Foreman punched and punched, but Ali kept standing against the ropes in almost insane ecstasy.
liver punch. Like,
how do they
that can easily damage your liver.
Yeah, how do they stand that? Like sometimes I used to feel like, do they feel the impact on their body at
Like,
all?
I used to enjoy combat sports so well. Like I was so blind to the damage it caused to their body.
Yeah.
As I watched Creed, when I saw him peeing blood, like,
yeah.
like this can be this dangerous, like, guys. Oh.
He yelled at Foreman in between the punches. Only one man on the planet, amid a life and death struggle, can utter something as ridiculous and daunting.
Sarah punch, like, you literally place his face and like, oh, this man have a strong jaw to like eat that punch.
As, is that all you got, George? And continue to fight.
Sorry.
Foreman started to get incredibly tired, and then Ali shifted from his rope-a-dope defense and began fighting back. The combination of 5 blows to the head, spiced with a right hook, was enough to knock out the big George Foreman and brought all the spectators into delirium. Ali was the champion again. I am honored to be mentioned in the same sentence as him. He is the greatest of all time, and he outwitted me and outboxed me, George said after the match. Until his license was revoked, Ali was known as an elusive fighter. You couldn't push him into a corner. You couldn't shorten the ring against him. He always forced opponents into a counter rhythm and hit them in the head from incredible angles. Upon his return, Ali stunned the world, and even his coaches, with his ability to withstand blows from the baddest hitters on the planet, Foreman and Frazier. Thrilla in Manila. After he won the belt, he defended it 3 times in 1975, after which he squared off against Frazier for the 3rd time. The score was tied between the two, and the hatred was still there. Both men wanted the trilogy. Thrilla
Only the champions, like, only the best, like, everybody's
vulnerable.
Everybody's coming to eat from you, like, everybody's eyeing you, like,
yeah, everybody's trying
like
to.
the prize.
You are not.
You're just
I'm
like,
taking it from you.
No, it's just like, yeah, Antolup and Alina's like, you're surrounded by Alina's like coming to devour you. That's how, like, you need to be prepared at all times because you have to defend.
It's not a time to relax. It's a time to train more.
It's not your place to go and sleep and like, okay,
I'm now the champion.
They're coming to take from you.
Will be remembered for inhumane conditions of 40 degrees Celsius and humidity that knocked out people in the stands. That fight showed what human will and determination could do. Frazier was filled with hatred for Ali and determined to finally show he was better. Ali was far from the ideal shape, with an obvious excess weight, but with self-confidence that nobody else had. Each round was a total war. They say the styles make up every good boxing match, and these two styles were perfectly appealing. Frazier hit Ali in the head like no one, precisely, seemingly every time, and Ali countered with uppercuts that closed both of Frazier's eyes. In the 12th round, Frazier could hardly see anything, and his face looked like porridge. The man fought almost completely blind, but didn't want to give up. However, before the start of the 15th round, Frazier's coach...
Like, taking all those punches and still stand on your feet, like, that's the heart of the champion, like, do or die.
Yeah.
Either I take this bet or I'm going to die, like, I prefer dying than giving up, like tapping out. Like, that's actually the heart of the champion, and it can still also be risky because you can actually lose your life in the ring. So please don't try that at home.
Eddie Futch physically prevented his fighter from going out on the gong. I couldn't let him die in my arms. I just couldn't. This is the closest to dying I've ever felt in my life. Muhammed said after the match, I hit him with punches that would knock down a wall, and he stayed on his feet. God is my witness. He's a great champion. Frazier said in the locker room, final career years, making history with 3rd title. Ali said that it was
confused.
No, I don't think the guy won the fight, but the guy was very firm.
Yeah, so I think Ali was just like giving him kudos.
Yeah,
like,
the credits.
It's actually, those punches are really, really, really heavy, and like, it's on his feet. Like, to me, that's not a loss. Like, the man should be fair. Like, his tolerance and his, what do you call it, stamina. There's another word again.
Perseverance.
Yeah.
Painful, and that he might get a heart attack how exhausted he was, and that he wants to retire while he was still on top. And that's exactly what he should have done. However, he was the champ, and at the height of his fame and earning power. By that time, he was boxing mainly for financial reasons. He didn't need the money himself, but he was donating up to 80% of the fight purses to those in need. After Frazier, he gained more weight and was getting up in age, but he was skilled enough to notch a few more victories. The chatter about him hanging up the gloves was louder and louder, and Ali kept saying he'll retire, but then he would change his mind and strap the gloves back on again. But if you fight long enough, you will lose, no matter how great you are. For Ali, it happened in the form of Leon Spinks, who gave Ali his third career loss in 1978. Every defeat gave Ali extra motivation, and he wanted to prove that he is still not done yet and regain the title in a rematch. He did just that and became the first man to win the heavyweight championship on 3 separate occasions. After the fight, he retired and relinquished his titles, but then unretired 2 years later, fighting his old sparring partner Larry Holmes, and then Trevor Berbick in 1981. He lost both fights and didn't resemble the man who he was before. Early signs of Parkinson's were already there, and his movement, speech, and coordination were already impaired. Legacy. After his boxing career was finally over, Ali still continued to fight. He was fighting for peace, tolerance, and equality. Ali was a dancer and a poet who just happened to punch people for a living. And while his punches and shuffle brought victories, and his trash-talking rhymes brought him fame, his most important fights were for justice. And his best words were when he was talking about race and inequality that black people have to go through.
Where is that from?
Ali enjoyed the bright lights, the women, money, and everything that comes with it. But he never forgot where he came from, and he always fought for the people. That's why he was the people's champ. And despite his illness, Ali didn't hate boxing for what it did to him. He loved it for what it had done for him. He was the most charismatic boxer ever, and combined with his success in the ring and social activism, we consider him the greatest athlete of all time.
Does he have stroke?
Like his hands like twitch on his own.
Really?
I think that was the sickness that killed him, something like that. Well, actually, I googled about him. He died at the age of 76.
Wow.
I think it was supposed to be like 84 right now, something like that. I don't know if I'm that's actually correct, but like I have to go and check on Google again. But
meaning the boxing did something to his health.
Yeah, it fought too long. Actually,
I mean, all the punch,
all those hits, all those punch, like it actually affects your nerves and your whole body system. Bro. Like
even the training is rigorous.
Well, actually, it's actually a great man. Just leave the Boston part out of it, but like as a person,
he's strong.
He's a strong person.
He has temperance. I mean, he has perseverance.
The ability to keep moving forward.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Actually, I don't count his losses as a loss, because anytime you lose the belt, like you go back and look through his book and gets better. Like that's actually a very good story. Just imagine Ali just winning.
He can't just win because
imagine a movie. Somebody just winning, like nothing bad happened to the person, like just all sweet.
It will be a good story. There will be no, it will be motivating. There will be no inspiration to draw out of it, because we want to see your pit holes and how you came out of them.
That's what all that matters. And this human being life, you have to have those stuff to be a person. Like imagine you're saying, I give to the poor, I give to the poor, and you've never been in a condition where you don't have money. Yeah. So now when you're in a condition you don't have money and you have little, can you like share with the other person?
You know, when we come to a stage in our life when things are going down, we feel like, oh, this is the worst that can happen. The worst has happened to me. I think I'm going to die here. We don't see it as an experience to learn from. Learn everything you have to learn from that experience, because after that time, you are supposed to impact your world with whatever you've learned from the experience. I mean, it's not the end of it all.
Actually, like, I was thinking, okay, most people, once they get the test of fame and power, they actually easily forget where they're coming from, like their roots. They're like, okay, they live in the mansion. After they're not seeing where they're coming from, their family member is good, everybody's good. Like, okay, that's a good life.
I love the fact that
he went back and was see.
In fact, he's a complete champ. Like he ended well. Like he finished his course.
Like was seeing movie that was movie in Africa, and people were seeing him hailing like he's actually a good person. Like now I see why everybody shouting Alice. Tomorrow,
he's a good fighter on all grounds.
Right now, me too, I'm gonna shout Alice on that person, because I've seen and I've witnessed that he's actually a good person and a great fighter. I really enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching with us this time, and I'd like to see you on my next video. Please, if you're not subscribed yet, please subscribe, give the video a big thumbs up, and if there's super thanks there, if you want to give me super thanks, I'll be very happy. Thank you for watching my video, and I hope to see you on my next video, guys. Bye bye.